The Hard Summer lineup just dropped, so I'm gonna take you through everybody on the lineup. Let's jump in. What's up? My name is Brett and I'm here to help you with everything you need to know related to music festivals and travel to get you outraging. In this video, we're going to be going over the Hard Summer lineup that just dropped. There's a bunch of amazing artists on it, so let's just get right into it. In this first section, I'm going to take you through everybody on the lineup and tell you a little bit about them, and then after that, I'm going to give you my specific recommendations. You can check that out in the chapters below, but let's jump into everybody on the list. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you, there is going to be a playlist in the description, so check that out. On Spotify, it's going to have every single artist on there. So if you want to, get ready and listen to everybody and kind of hear some new music, go toss that on, shuffle it, and you'll be prepared. Starting from the top down, we've got Cascade back-to-back John Summit. This one is going to be epic. I've seen both of them separately and they're amazing, and I actually went to the K5 show at the LA Coliseum, so it's gonna be a little bit of a throwback for me because, being able to see John Summit and Cascade together, minus Deadmau5, will be pretty epic. Anytime I would see either of them on a lineup, I would definitely want to go see them, so them together is gonna be awesome. Diplo back-to-back Blondish is gonna be a similar style to Cascade and John Summit, really nice house music with lots of vocals, but Cascade and John Summit will have a lot more really melodic vocals, and then Diplo and Blondish will probably be a lot more club vibe. Keizo back-to-back Sullivan King is gonna be aggressive. This is a very unique back-to-back for sure, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. Keizo throws in a lot of hard dance randomly throughout, as well as some drum and bass, and then Sullivan King throws a lot of metal step, which is gonna be a really aggressive and fun combination. Gorgon City is a UK duo that you actually don't see on a lot of Insomniac lineups, which is pretty cool, so definitely want to check out if you go to a lot of the local Insomniac festivals like, Escape and Countdown and things like that. Gorgon City is incredibly popular, and they've kind of almost transcended EDM in a certain way because they've definitely become more on kind of like the pop level of fame, I guess. Dylan Francis, if you don't know him, you've probably been living under a rock for 10 years. He's into Moombahton, trap, house. He's all over the spectrum. Incredibly popular and made a lot of Latin house music and different pop styles as well. Every time I go see him, he's super fun because he plays a lot of that like really popular music and some heavy stuff as well. He's really just good at judging what the crowd is feeling at that time. If I don't see him at Beyond, which I'll be going to, then I will see Dylan Francis here at Hard Summer. Jungle DJ looks like a band as far as looking on the Insomniac website. I didn't know much about them before. Online it says they're a band, so it says they're 7 people, but right here it says DJ, so maybe like 1 or 2 of them are gonna DJ. I'm not really sure how that's gonna work. The band makes basically 60s sounding music, so it could be a really interesting vibe. 4B and Gesture are very fast-paced, booty shaking music, so that one's gonna be a lot of fun, especially the pair of them together. I think it's gonna be really interesting because they have such similar vibes. They throw trap in as well, and having them go back to back and kind of feel up each other would be pretty interesting. Also, Gesture is on TikTok all the time, kind of pretending to be a fan in the crowd with a balaclava on, so definitely keep an eye out for him because he might just be running around and getting videos of people. Next up, my man Shaq Diesel. I'm wearing my Shaq jersey right now. I'm so excited to see him at Hard Summer because he actually couldn't make it to Beyond anymore. He was on the Beyond lineup and I was super excited to see him, but now I'm gonna have the chance to see him again at Hard Summer. If you don't know, Shaq, the basketball player, is a DJ and he loves really aggressive dubstep music. It's super fun. I've seen him at both of the Lost Lands I went to, and both sets were an amazing time. Actually, at the second, this last year, Lost Lands 2022, he stopped the set because he saw some girl like break her ankle, and he made sure that she got out and got the medical attention before even continuing. And then, was telling everybody to be careful for, all the girls that were in the mosh pits and things like that. So definitely big respect to Shaq. Fat Joe being on this lineup was a huge shock to the internet. Everybody was freaking out about it because he hasn't been around doing much, and he was super popular back when I was younger in like my middle school days. I think anybody that's like at least 25 years old is probably pretty hyped about this, maybe even a little bit older. I know if he brought out Ja Rule and Ashanti, that would be insane and we would probably lose our minds. So I'm gonna try to see him just because of that. I don't think he's actually gonna bring them out, but you know, there's always hoping. Say My Nitty, I saw at Escape and it was absolutely insane. They were so aggressive and so much fun. And my friend Keith actually dragged me all the way up to the front, which was, I never would have gotten that close if it weren't for him pushing me to get that close. So it was definitely a great time. I definitely recommend. It's Say My Name and Nitty Gritty, who I think changed just to Nitty, but anyways, they're definitely a great combo together. They make the set really aggressive. Oh, you can check out their Escape set on SoundCloud. They recorded it. It's not the best quality, but it's like through the decks, through the mixer, they recorded it, so you can check that out. Loco Dice is very chill house music. ISO EXO is definitely one I want to check out. They're super hot right now. Skrillex did a back-to-back with them on New Year's, which is pretty cool. You know, anybody that gets Skrillex's support or, you know, does a set with Skrillex, it's definitely one to watch. Check out their song Radial. Kaivon is melodic dubstep. Great artist if you're into melodic dubstep for sure. But he's been on a lot of Insomniac lineups lately, so if you've been to a bunch of the Insomniac festivals lately, you probably have seen him, or you know, will very soon. I particularly wouldn't prioritize just because of that. Even if I was a huge melodic dubstep fan, I want to see more artists, see different varieties each festival I go to, so that would be just me. But I will say it's going to be a great time, so don't let that get in your way. Hayden James is great house music. I saw him at Coachella this last year and it was a lot of fun. Definitely like day trip vibes if you're familiar with that. Netsky is amazing drum and bass, definitely on the kind of happier melodic side if you're familiar with drum and bass. I haven't seen him on a lot of lineups around Southern California, so this is an interesting one and, you know, kind of a rare one to see around here. If you're into drum and bass, you will know of Netsky. If not, definitely check him out because he's huge and not around the area a whole lot, from what I've seen lately at least. Boys Noise. The last time I saw Boys Noise was Hard Summer of 2015, and for that reason exactly is why I'm gonna go try to see Boys Noise again. This is the only Hard Summer I've been to, and now I'm going to my next one and I want to see Boys Noise again, run it back. Super fun house music and really popular. Made the song Midnight Hour with Ty Dolla $ign. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that song. Wilkinson, he's one of the few drum and bass artists like Netsky on the Hard Summer lineup. Not a whole lot of drum and bass going on here, but he's another one. He's definitely on the more chill side with lots of melodies and vocals. One vocalist you might recognize is Becky Hill. He's also on the Beyond lineup, so I'm going to try to see him there, and then if not, again, I'll see him at Hard Summer. 2 Feet is actually one of the most popular artists on here that's not really EDM, probably more in the kind of pop genre. Song that you probably recognize or would recognize if you heard it is I Feel Like I'm Drowning. Go check that out. That song was definitely wildly popular on the radio for a while, as far as I can remember at least. If you're primarily just, you know, an EDM person like myself and you're trying to branch out, this would be a person to check out for sure. Dennis Solta, not very well known, you know, at least compared to these other artists. He's got very minimal house music, really chill, not particularly my vibe, but you know, to each their own. DeVault is basically emotional house music. I would almost say it sounds similar to Rufus Du Sol. Maybe not the same style, but it gives off the same kind of emotion and energy when you're listening to it. Hard to explain, but definitely check them out because Rufus Du Sol obviously is fantastic, and giving off that similar vibe will be great. Chef's kiss. Alex Perez is mostly liquid drum and bass, but he does have one wonky song that I really liked, and it's called Pulsate. I don't think it's going to be the vibe of his entire set. It's probably going to be more like the liquid drum and bass stuff, but you know, maybe it will be. We can hope. Blossom is super hype club house. You could almost compare her a little bit to like classic Oliver Heldens. Definitely going to be a fun time. Lude is absolutely a must-see drum and bass artist for sure, hands down. A bunch of incredibly popular songs like Big City Life and Down Under that have 95 million and 220 million plays on Spotify. This is definitely going to be a great set where we're all going to be jumping and having a ton of fun. I will absolutely be there. I don't know what this next one, ITHZ, whatever the case may be, it's Chi and John Casey. This is definitely a must-see for anybody who's into bass music for sure. They're both smaller artists, but you know, with a lot of really interesting things going on. John Casey actually pretty recently was tweeting about how Skrillex was playing one of his songs during his set. Both of these artists are more on the trap and kind of like experimental wonky bass side of things. I personally think that the combination of these two will end up being actually one of the best sets of the entire day. Nala came up in the Miami house music scene, and she's made some songs with Walker and Royce and Claude Von Stroke, who are huge house artists. She's definitely on the more chill side when compared to artists like Side Piece and Fisher, but still upbeat and fun. Lauren Lane back-to-back Miss Mata will be an interesting one. Lauren Lane is very minimal house, and her songs are very chill and slowly evolving. She came up in the New York house scene. Miss Mata came up in the Miami house scene, and she's only got one song on SoundCloud, but she's also kind of very minimal house, very similar to Lauren Lane. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this next one right. Yune Pinko? Correct me if I'm wrong. Also chill, but definitely a lot more going on than the previous two. Some deep house and some influences from UK Garage. Not on a lot of lineups, so this one would definitely be a great choice for a lot of the chill music fans out there. Miha's been around for a long time. She's gotten a lot of acclaim on Owlsla, which is Skrillex's label. She was definitely very popular years ago. She made a couple songs with artists like Kill the Noise and Seven Lions. I'm gonna try to see her if possible, depending on set time conflicts. Mostly because I don't really know exactly what her sets would be like these days. I'm sure it would be, really emotional and a good time, but it depends, what the conflicts are. And speaking of conflicts, as always, I do a conflicts video about 3 days before the festival. Once they release all of the set times, I'll do a live stream to, talk through all of the choices and, who's gonna be when and, how to help a little bit of picking who to see during what times. It's always tough to make those choices, so let me help you out. Subscribe and make sure to be staying tuned for that video. Odd Mob recently got remixed by one of my favorite artists of all time, Space Laces. He makes really hype house music. So this one's gonna be a high priority for me because the energy is just gonna be so high. For anyone that likes main stage, typical house music with really high energy, Odd Mob is definitely one to check out. Check out his song Lithium. Rohan did a back-to-back with Sokka at Countdown. I did see that. Sokka's more experimental based. Rohan is supposedly more drum and bass, but it seemed like that particular set there was a lot more experimental bass going on, really slow, kind of wobbly sounds that were really almost like chill, and it wasn't exactly for me. So I would love to give Rohan another chance just because I don't think that was his normal vibe. I think he's probably going to play a lot more drum and bass that will have, higher energy. So we'll see. I'll see if I can swing by this and give it another shot. Azeka is from the Chicago house scene, and she's definitely on the darker side of house, almost more like techno. She's been on some other more genre-focused lineups with artists like A Tale of Us, Amy, Joris Van Dorn, DJ Tennis, Charlotte DeWitt, and more. Sorry, I had to read off. I couldn't remember all that. Nina Geraci. I don't know if that's how to pronounce it, but let me know. She's definitely very interesting. She gives me kind of like old Flume vibes, but she's got some really like glitchy beats as well in her music catalog. It may not be the most popular kind of style, but she's got a lot of really pretty vocals on it, which I'm sure, will be great. If you're really into her music, you could sing along. She's definitely a mix of a lot of different genres all put together. And for me, if you're a person who wants to see a bunch of different new people, this would be one that I would highly recommend on that list. Just because she's so interesting and different, I will be doing my best to check her out as well. Chewy is plain and simple Latin house music vibes. If you're into Latin house music, this one's for you. Probably I already know about him if you're into Gesture or Dioro. There's some similarities here. This is going to be super popular in LA, knowing the area and people that like this kind of music, which will be heavily present. So that one's going to be a big party. So expect that one to get rowdy. Nick P's a smaller bass music artist with a mix in the kind of bass genre of things like halftime, neuro bass, drum and bass, experimental. He kind of goes all over the place. He's got some really hype and grungy sounds, but at a slower, head nodding kind of tempo. He's definitely going to be one of the opening slots for the day, like the very first DJs to play based on his size, but I would definitely rush to see if I could get there fast enough based on traffic and everything like that to try and see him, and he would probably be my pick for all of these opening slots on the first day. Chill, contrary to the name, is actually really hype club deep house. DJ Dial's also another one that I believe is going to be an opener just based on size. Only one song on Spotify, very chill house music. Last up for day one is 21 Savage. I'm sure all of you know who 21 Savage is. Huge, famous rapper. Made songs with The Weeknd, Drake, many more. Not much else to say here, but in LA, this one is going to be packed. Absolutely packed. So if you're not into super big crowds, stay away from this particular one. Unless you're just really into 21 Savage, then you gotta go and you gotta stay way far in the back. Be safe out there. Take care of one another. Be nice. Don't shove. Do your best. Okay, now let's move on to Sunday. Skrillex back-to-back Fortet. This is another one that you gotta be careful. It's gonna be crazy packed, absolutely. But I think this one is gonna be worth it just because Skrillex and Fortet are on their tour right now. Skrillex released 2 albums, if you didn't know. And one of them is with Fortet, or one of the songs is with Fortet, Butterflies, check that out. But in general, this isn't gonna be like a classic Skrillex set. It's going to be a lot more focused on the music most likely that, you know, he made with Fortet, so kind of a little bit more focused on house and kind of like chill-ish trap songs. So don't expect any dubstep, or at least don't expect a whole lot. One cool thing that might happen is he could bring out Fred again. We'll see. Don't get your hopes up too high, but it's possible. Black Coffee is a house music legend, plays all over the world, very critically acclaimed and award-winning. Definitely a must-see at some point, so why not here? Oliver Tree is another huge artist that isn't really on any EDM lineups, so this is going to be another unique one to see. I'm very, very sure every single one of you watching has heard his song Miss You. Generally his songs are upbeat and poppy. It's probably going to be so much fun. It's probably going to be packed, so another one to kind of be careful about that for. Yellow Motherfucking Claw and Flostradamus. This one is going to be so sick. I could have sworn they used to do back-to-backs years ago at you know, all the SoCal Festival, but I haven't seen it in forever, so this is going to be awesome. They're both trap legends. Yellow Claw plays a lot of hard dance as well, which isn't my thing, but because it's with Floss, it probably, hopefully, will be a lot more trap focused, and because of that, I'm gonna want to try to be there. We'll see. Dioro, I mentioned before, he's another Latin house legend, but doesn't just solely focus on the Latin sound. You probably recognize his song 5 Hours, which I think then they made a 5 More Hours remix of it with Chris Brown. I like the original better, but I digress. I saw him about a year ago at the Palladium in Hollywood, and it was an awesome time. Because he's in LA, he's probably going to be playing a ton of Latin music. He did at the Palladium. His songs and other songs that are just really popular and get, you know, all the people that love the Latin music really hyped. Which then makes the crowd super fun. Everybody's really happy. So this would be a really great one, especially because it's in downtown LA. He's gonna probably get up on the mic and say a bunch of things about it, I'm sure. The Martinez Brothers, house music duo, another one with Latin vibes as well. Bicep is another duo, but they're from Ireland. They make breakbeat, essentially. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it sounds a little bit like drum and bass, but kind of slowed down and more chill. This definitely being a live set will be interesting. I'm not sure what to expect, honestly. Sunny Federa is a house music artist from Australia. Deep house, lots of great vocalists. It's gonna be fun. And this one obviously is crossed out with a B2B from somebody. We don't know who it is. I tried to guess based on kind of trying to unshuffle the blur, but oh well. Same thing with the blur above that I didn't mention, and the blur to the right that I'm also not gonna mention because I can't possibly guess. Although, I will say, the one next to Sunny Federa looks like it says Grizz, but there's no way, that makes no sense. There's no way it would be Grizz, I think. That'd be crazy, right? Oh well, we'll find out. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Okay, that's not gonna happen. Ludacris, obviously most people know who he is. Growing up, his song Get Back was insanely popular. So if you're like me and don't really have the chance to see rap artists much because it's not like your main thing, definitely go see him. I know I'm gonna try to because, you know, festivals like this where I'm going mainly for the electronic music, and then there's some rap artists that, you know, I won't have the chance to see elsewhere, then I try to go see them. Some things like Coachella too, that's like a great place to go see all different kinds of artists that, you know, you wouldn't necessarily go to a specific concert for. Peekaboo is a very popular bass music artist. He has a song with Skrillex on his new album. Definitely gonna be a hype one to see. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce this one. Gioli and Asia, maybe? Italian duo that makes house music. It's kind of like a cross of techno and some other genres that have a lot of acoustic instruments in it. Disco Lines, huge recommendation here, especially for all the house fans. This guy's from Boulder, Colorado, and his song Techno and Tequila is fantastic. I absolutely want to go almost just for that song alone. It's going to be an amazing time. Kaiwachi is another heavy hitter in the bass music scene, makes a ton of really aggressive dubstep, but also has a lot of really great vocals, collabs with people like Sullivan King, Phase One, and Davin, and plenty more, with vocalists like Dylan Matthew, and a bunch of talented other vocalists that I can't even name. There's so many. Bass Laces, I mentioned it before, he's easily one of my favorite artists of all time. He's just incredibly talented. He makes some of the absolute best dubstep and bass house that is out there. And honestly, a ton of artists have been trying to copy his style for years, but he's just top tier, and I'm sure he works very hard to be there. Every time I see a set, it's amazing, so I highly recommend. Knock 2, I've been wanting to see them for a while now. They are rising stars in the bass music scene. They make really, really amazing bass house. Their songs have been getting played constantly at every single major music festival, a couple of them in particular, over and over and over. If you went to Lost Lands, and almost every DJ played some form of remix of one of their songs. So they're very impressive, and I definitely want to go see them since I've been hearing their songs for a pretty long while now. Ben Sterling is a UK tech house artist that leans a little bit more towards the techno side of things. Blake is a bass music artist that really has a broad set of genres in all of his songs. He does a lot of dubstep, melodic dubstep, mid-tempo. He's kind of all over within the kind of bass music spectrum. I'm hoping to see him at Beyond, but if I miss him there, I will be seeing him here at Hard Summer. Emo Night plays emo and kind of pop punk songs. They've been curating shows since about 2014, really to revive that kind of emo genre. I don't believe they make their own music. I think they DJ that genre essentially, but it's been a trend in LA for, you know, since 2014. They've been making these shows, so I'm sure that's why they've gotten plenty of acclaim. I've seen them on multiple lineups. I think they did Coachella a couple times at least. If you're into that kind of music, definitely check them out. Wookie is another artist that I'll be trying to see at Beyond, and if not, I'll see here. One of my favorite artists on the lineups just because his songs are so fun. He makes a ton of remixes, then puts them onto TikTok, and then did like a whole tour with just his songs from TikTok that were ones he can't release. Which apparently went really well, according to social media. Roman Back-to-Back Rossi are both house music artists, one from the Netherlands and one from the UK, both very minimalistic in their house sound. Dirt Monkey is very wonky bass music. Plenty of it has somewhat of a reggae vibe to it. Hamdi, this one's really unique. I'm actually really excited to see him because one of his songs is kind of another one that's been played all over at all festivals. He's kind of a mix of trap and breakbeat with a little bit of more of a minimalistic feel compared to other typical bass music artists. The really popular song to check out that I was talking about is called Skanka. I know it's a silly name, but it's in the playlist, so check it out there. Not sure how to pronounce this one. Ameme, maybe? Anyways, this one's an Afro house artist. His music is definitely, you know, deep house that has acoustic instruments that really have influence from where he's from, which is, you know, West Africa. Kitty Cash is a hip-hop artist that has worked with people like Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, Migos, plenty more. Chase West is a rising house artist supported by Gordo, if you're familiar. Frosttop is an amazing bass music artist with a ton of trap and dubstep and really aggressive vibes. Totally what I am into, and I haven't had the chance to see him in ever. He was on the Hard Summer lineup last year when I really wanted to go, but I didn't, so regretted it. I'm glad he's on the lineup this year, so I'm definitely going to try to see him. Actually, I think he was on either Escape or Countdown's lineup, but I didn't make it early enough that day to see him either, so I've definitely been messing up. I gotta see him this time. Black City is really chill, interesting house music that almost takes on like an EDM version of lo-fi. It almost sounds like music that you would hear in the background of a typical vlog. His bio says, I'm gonna read it to you. Music that draws on imaginative, intricate soundscapes to create immersive electronica with emotional resonance. That is a very wordy way of saying it has a lot of emotion and it's chill and vibey. But yeah, listen to it, it's pretty cool. Sippy is an Australian bass music DJ that went to the same music school as artists like Nightmare, Slander, Jaws, and Keizo. Fleur Shore, she is a house music DJ from the UK that makes deep house with kind of a jazzy flair to it. Tate B, I highly recommend. I saw him at Lost Lands for the first time and only time yet, and it was absolutely amazing. He makes bass music that's got a really nostalgic vibe to it. He's remixed a ton of dubstep classics that I highly recommend you check out as well. They will probably be stuck in your head if you listen to them. Yo Tate B is my favorite song of his. That is really a really good one, and it's just exciting to see him finally on a West Coast lineup, because I know he's been playing a lot on the East Coast and throughout the country. I think on Murada's tour right now. Club Tularosa is house music with kind of an 80s flair to it. Since it's a smaller bass music artist with some aggressive stuff, some melodic stuff, I recommend you checking out the You and I remix. That one's pretty good, especially if you're into melodic dubstep. Fun to Be Jane has nothing on Spotify. Obviously a smaller artist based on the size. She plays house music from what I could see on SoundCloud. And last but definitely not least is Kid Cudi. I've been waiting for so long to see him. I had a chance to see him in the beginning of college, way back when at Red Rocks, and I missed my chance, so I will definitely be seeing Kid Cudi. This is going to be another one that's going to be insanely packed for sure, but definitely worth it. If you're not familiar with Kid Cudi, his song Day and Night is a great place to start. Pursuit of Happiness, Mr. Rager, plenty more, but yes, he doesn't perform a whole lot. It's definitely going to be a special set. So in general, that's what all of the artists are like, and I kind of gave you recommendations along the way, but right now I'm going to give you my top 2 for each day, just to make it simple. Normally I go into a lot more, but there's so many artists, I think just picking 2 makes it a lot more simple. So for day 1, this one is going to be a tough one. Obviously, even for both days, I really want to recommend Cascade back-to-back John Summit and Skrillex back-to-back Fortet, but those are just obvious ones that, I can't just be like, oh yeah, those are going to be my recommendations, see ya. Like, no, I gotta give you better recommendations than that, as far as things that you might not know of, or things that you might not necessarily, be totally sold on. So my top 2 for day 1 are gonna be ISOXO and Lude. ISOXO is going to be so much fun. Their songs are insane, very popular. Going to be a very hype trap set that's going to have a lot of really aggressive vibes. And then on the other end of the spectrum, well, not necessarily other end of the spectrum, but Lude is going to be drum and bass. It's going to be definitely more melodic with lots of vocals and more like sing-along rather than just like totally headbanging. So those are my 2 choices there. Lude, definitely check out the songs beforehand. You'll probably recognize some vocals. Down Under, for sure. You'll recognize Down Under. Okay, moving on to day 2. This is a really tough one because the day 2 lineup is actually stacked with so many people. I mean, I could just say Skrillex, B2B Fortet, Space Laces, Kaiwachi. I mean, there's so many. Blank, Dirt Monkey. Gosh, it's very tough. But I know for me, Knock 2 is my absolute number 1, besides the Skrillex set, since I don't know why, but I haven't seen Skrillex yet, and I'm definitely going to see Skrillex. But Knock 2 is way up there for me because they're, a duo that's just totally rising star status right now. Definitely need to see them since they're making songs that all of these other DJs have been playing that I've been seeing. I want to see what they actually do with the set and then, see where they're going to be headed depending on how good it is. And then my next one, man, number 2 on this, I don't know. This is going to be really hard. See right now, Tate B, I had an amazing time and I recommend him to anybody. Frost Top I haven't seen yet. Great songs. Hamdi also I haven't seen yet. I think, so I will qualify this actually because Skrillex and Kid Cudi both need to be seen on this day. And that's just tough because those are going to be so packed. I'm struggling with this one. I'm between like Space Laces, Kaiwachi, Disco Lines, Yellow Claw and Flostradamus, Peekaboo, Hamdi, I mean, Sunny Federa, based on who's going to be in the back-to-back with him. I have no idea who to pick for my number 2, but I think I'm going to have to go with
one eternity later.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Disco Lines, and I know this might be a shock because Disco Lines is house music. He's got so many good songs, it's insane. All of his songs have been picked up by all the major house artists and played all over the place. So I think that, gotta give credit where it's due. So Disco Lines is gonna be my number 2 pick. I know that, this probably doesn't make sense based on like all of the dubstep that I recommend all the time, but I really have some faith in Disco Lines, and I was talking to a friend about it earlier, and I think he's gonna like pull out all the stops. So check them out. Check out everybody. Check out the playlist. It's gonna be in the description so you can listen to everybody. Everybody that has music. There's only like 1 or 2 people that didn't have music on Spotify, so you can check them all down below. And then as the rest of the lineup gets released, I'll add those to the playlist as well. Also, don't forget, I will be doing a live stream of the set time conflicts. When the set times come out, probably 2 to 3 days before Hard Summer, so probably about August 1st, roughly. I'll do a live stream and kind of go through all of those and help you guys out with at least who I'm picking and give you reasons why I would be picking one versus the other. Other than that, follow me on Instagram and I will catch you outraging. Peace.